Let's have a look at the month ahead, better late than never. But before I do, just to give you the heads up, in the next week or two, I'll be dropping a follow-up interview with astrologer Alex Chenoweth, who made some interesting predictions regarding education in the world just a couple of years ago on this show. And we'll be following up and seeing what has actually come true. So be sure to look out for that. In the meanwhile, here we sit in cold August, and it looks like quite a peaceful month in the charts as months go. What we have seen in the last few months, both in the charts and what's been happening in the country, is this adjustment, of course, to the government of national unity. Originally looked like a coalition in the charts, as I said before, and many people argue it is a coalition. Of course, technically it is. And we continue to see the formation of this seeming to happen in the chart. There's still a lot of behind the scenes dialogue going on, and in fact, a little too behind the scenes, but we are getting used to that in this country, always behind the scenes things going on in this chart. It must be said that despite the DA and other parties who are in this coalition with the ANC exposing certain things and trying to make a strong impact as they have, there's still a lot going on behind the scenes, of course, and um, probably a lot of, in the end, negotiations that benefit everyone. The chart is looking quite strong in terms of kind of taking care of everyone. You know, it's the month of Leo, and it is a bit of a Leo thing. I often think of Leos as the perfect host. They kind of make sure that everyone's okay and got what they need, and they've got that warm, as long as we're all on the right side, and as long as you agree with me, everything's going to be great for everyone. And there is that energy strongly in the chart for the country this month, and bonus that it's actually the month of Leo and this is really happening. So it looks increasingly as time goes by that a better relationships and a better working understanding is being forged in the government of national unity that at least for a while certainly looks positive for the country. When we look at this chart, we can see that financially this is actually quite a good time, and hopefully it represents a little bit of economic recovery and certainly represents ongoing strengthening of the currency or very stable currency, and as well as improvement in some of the economic figures, things like the petrol price and other indicators might improve. I know that the Reserve Bank has not adjusted the repo rate for a while, and it might be a while before their next meeting before they do, but even that might benefit in the long run. So for a while, we're seeing a lot of stability and a lot of financial gain and financial improvement. Certainly, there are members of the GNU who will still attempt to expose financial irregularities and so on. That is probably a good idea. We have seen some of that in the immediate aftermath of the formation of the GNU, and it looks like there's some of that still to follow, but all to good effect because the financial situation is looking strong, and indeed the relationships amongst the parties is looking strong. What's not looking as strong is the Department of International Relations going on in this chart. And it does look like some of the pattern that we've seen in the last little while continues, by which I mean the charts have indicated, and I frequently said, that there are changing relationships with other countries. This is obviously as a result of various policy decisions South Africa's made, as well as certain other things. So we've seen lots of new visa regulations coming in for South Africans traveling, and that may very well continue. There are changing relationships, meaning people who were friendly with us are not so friendly with us anymore, and people who might not have been on the scene are now on the scene in terms of our international relationships. Maybe it'll give us new opportunities for travel as South Africans, but as I've said, also going to be new visa issues and new suspicion and reserve from other countries. Apart from our political standpoint, which has certainly created some of that, we know that things like uncontrolled forgery of South African passports and similar issues drug trafficking through South Africa. All of these things affect how other countries respond to our passport and our place in the world. Does look like that is an area where this new government of ours should be paying important attention. And of course, international relations is one of those areas that is somewhat contentious, even in the GNU, and that looks to be an ongoing issue. The weak area in that GNU at the moment does seem to be international relations, and there still seem to be things going on that the GNU is not aware of. So in other words, there's new parties who have come into the government, as we know, all wanting to shake it up and clean it up and do all of those things. But in terms of certainly international relations, so showing in this chart, there's a lot of stuff that they don't know and that they may yet have a while before they find out. So their deals and existing relationships that for a while this current GNU still has no access to. So some of the shifts and some of the goings on in international relationships might not just end. For example, the sudden and strange interactions with Russia that happen every now and then. Just to use as a classic example of what this chart shows, as there's strange and vague and hopefully not too nefarious things going on behind the scenes and under the table and all of that, that ain't changing. Also, our shifting relationships with allies and former allies, that ain't changing. But what is that there also seem to be new powerful figures in our international relationships as well. There are some who certainly appreciate a path that we are forging, perhaps regarding to our own path, but certainly in terms of our relationships in the world and with the world. When it comes to sport, of course, it's Olympics as we speak, and we are seeing, as has been promised in the charts for months and in the year ahead at the beginning of the year, pointing out really great performance by South African women in the Olympic Games. And we're certainly seeing that happening, and we're seeing that continuing in the chart. Interestingly, the chart in terms of sport at the moment is also showing a little bit of a mixed bag. Those promised great results do show in the chart, do show in the world out there, but there's also some troublesome issues. So some big disappointments, those kind of things, not unexpected in the world of sport. And certainly on the whole, with respect to sport in general, Olympics in particular, this chart for South Africa continues to look great and really continues to help the world see us a little bit in a different way as well. We're just one of many competitors as I speak today, which, 5th of August or whatever it is today. It is that. We know that even at this particular time, there are some kinds of South Africa stands 27th in the medals table, which is not too fantastic, although considering how many countries there are there, it's not that bad. But that's not going to improve too much, and that doesn't make us terribly visible in the world. We're just another one of the competitors who at least gets gold medals out there. But it does seem that even that, there's definitely a connection now. There's definitely a connection now between Olympic Games and what's happening in terms of our international relationships. So maybe there's some of that kind of wheeling or dealing happening along the sides as well. But certainly, for the most part, the sporting department looks really great. And the changing nature of our international side of the chart in the long run is actually still depicted as pretty positive in South Africa's charts. Not a question of who's right, who's wrong, who's enemies, who's friends. What is the issue in the chart is, does the country continue to grow positively, grow financially, move forward in many ways? And that looks like a gentle yes. By gentle, I mean, as I started off by saying, this is a peaceful looking chart this month. So there's no dramatic shakes. Yay, we've got a great new friend doing this, giving us that, or any of those kind of things. That's not what's so important. What's important that in the long run, August continues to act as a strengthening, stabilizing, and perhaps increasing positive angle on things. Continuing with the weak opposition at the moment, who are not really achieving very much official opposition. Now, MK Party also in this chart seeming not to really have a powerful influence just yet, although what is concerning astrologically, just like everywhere else, is their potential influence in the JSC. But because, in fact, the chart that represents them at the moment sits in the house of the law. So maybe it's talking about that. But more importantly, it's sitting in a weak position, which shows no impact at the moment and continuing big sudden changes, flipping and flopping, and all of those things that we're seeing in the opposition, who at the moment are doing little more than name calling with regards to the GNU. And so for a while, it looks like that continues to be weak. South Africa continues to be pretty stable as we learn to adjust and work with this new style of government that really, from this chart, looks like for now it's working for us. So let's keep on holding on to that as we look at what's in store for each of us in the month ahead. Aries, it looks like your reliance on other people or someone whose resources you rely on is looking a little unreliable at this particular time. And this is your opportunity to adjust some of who is in your resource pool of who you depend on and who you rely on. And it is one of those times to become a little bit more independent. You may very well find that there are changes happening in your working environment or planned changes that, with careful examination, you'll see will affect you in the months ahead, as in perhaps reducing your income or reducing the resources that are available to you. So what I'm really saying, Aries, is August is your month to act strategically. Although there might not be great big shakeups right now, you can expect them in the months ahead, just in terms of making you have to become more reliant. So that's what you can work on in the meanwhile. This is a great time to be looking for different kinds of resources, not where you depend on other people. New information can be very valuable to you, and new places can be very valuable to you. Whether you're traveling there or you're sourcing something from there, now's the time to really branch out a little bit and become independent by finding your own sources for what it is you need. Taurus, everything seems to be going well, but it could be that you're a little bit stuck. You're probably feeling a little bit insecure and holding on to things a little bit too tightly. Something needs to change. If you carry on the way you're going, everything will be fine. But if you're willing to shake things up a little bit and get rid of some of those old securities that don't really matter, then you really can see a change of fortune this month. It is kind of a lucky month for you, but it clearly requires a bit of cooperation from you and a bit of clearing your space so that some of that luck can come and find you. Comes in two forms, and of course, money is the best form, and it is a great month for money, Taurians. So make sure that you're open to new things and you don't cling to security of where you feel safe and not allow that to grow into something a lot more and a lot better. Wealth isn't always money, it's new information or new people from afar. So this is also a good time to enrich your personal circle in some way. That's also a kind of a wealth and a kind of luck that's coming your way. There are people entering into environments at this time that can really be good for you. They can really bring new things which themselves improve your luck. So this could be a month for you if you're willing to shake yourself up a little bit and not cling to those old securities. Go on, Taurus, do it. Gemini, it's go, go, go. This is a goal seeking and achieving month for you. This is a great opportunity to finally get to somewhere where you've been trying to get to for weeks or months, especially if that's got something to do with employment. So for those of you looking for new jobs or looking for some advance in your job, this does look very promising for you. this is going to need you to be a little bit more selfish than you usually are. You're someone who's great at taking other people into account and especially great at keeping all the people happy all the time. And this is not the time for that. This is the time to be selfish. It's also the time to play some of your cards close to your chest. So it's one of the things you do is you talk a lot and you might sometimes reveal more information than you actually need to do. So if we're talking about job interviews or new jobs or new developments in your work, that's something that you need to be particularly cautious about. Secrets sometimes need to be kept, and so it's not as extreme perhaps as secrets, but certainly not everything needs to be out there all the time. Focus around your own selfish needs. Don't reveal everything, and you'll be able to take advantage of the new opportunities that are presented to you. Cancer, things are looking financially beneficial for you this month, but it's possible that you won't be doing that entirely on your own. So while with respect to your goals, doing it yourself and your own personal goals, and perhaps even if you're self-employed, all of that is great and it's fine. You are achieving what you need to achieve, but you seem to be stuck or limited. And it's like this will only go that far. So you find where you are, but if you want to grow any further, you're going to have to make some changes and adjustments. And the change and adjustment that your chart's calling for, people, bring more people into the project. You love people, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. But your chart shows you could have been isolating yourself, or you might not be managing all your people relationships properly, and you're allowing yourself to lose out because you might be standing on a high horse and being very particular about something, and you need input from others. It's time to relax. It's time to kind of follow the example of what's happening in this country and mutual cooperation, things done in teams and groups. That's really what's going to work, especially for you this month. Make sure that you keep up with the family time and playtime on the side. That'll make you feel the relaxation that you need to open up your goal department a little bit more. Leo, this could be a lucky month for you, at least in the outside world. There's no better lucky month to have anyway than your birthday month. So that's the extra boost that you're going to get. Birthday is New Year's Day for us all, and it's the beginning of a fresh cycle. We get kind of refreshed every year with a great big injection of solar energy. And for you, Leos, who are ruled by the sun, that's more powerful than it is for everyone else. You're going to really see the results this year. You've got Venus on your side, you've got gains of a lot of things that you might like and real comforts, which we know Leo's like. So in the outside world, everything's looking good, but in the inside world, maybe not quite as much. And it's something, there might be things that are bothering you, things that you're worrying about. And the danger in your chart this month is doing something rash or reckless. Might not be your usual style, but certainly might be something that pulls the rug from under your feet, that undermines some of your gains this month. So be aware of inner fears, anxieties, or feeling hard done by that causes you to either lash out or do something rash. Keep your words to yourself. Enjoy the luck coming in and the gains coming in. Not a great time to speak your opinions. Might be a good time for a bit of rest, relaxation, and retreat while you sit there letting the luck roll in. Virgo, everything's ready to work for you. It's like everything's ready to go ahead, put things into action, and it's all going to work for you. But it looks like there's some kind of self-doubt or a little bit of being your own worst enemy at this time. Worst case scenario is self-criticism and pulling yourself down, negative thoughts. All of those things are the challenges during this month. Even if it's something you're keeping to yourself, it's very important to be vigilant on how powerful your thoughts are and how kind of dangerous your self-critical faculty is at the moment, because it looks like you're digging into things, past issues, stuff that you're finding it difficult to let go of, that you might still be working over and resenting or regretting. All of those kind of feelings and emotions could very well be getting in the way of your success this month, which really wants to happen. So this is a great month for going for it, putting yourself out there. And even if overcoming self-doubt requires a little bit of faking it, that's how to do it. It's kind of fake it until you make it is really going to work for you at this particular time. There is a certain amount of luck and gain on your side as well, in that doors will open to you if you push, but you're going to need a little bit of extra self-confidence in order to push. Build it, fake it, act it out. It's all good. The results will be there, and then you can worry about your self-worth afterwards. Librans, you might have been having a few financial concerns in the last month. And the good news is that things are really easing up. A lot of the problems that you thought you had will turn out to be much smaller than you thought they were. And you might even find good old-fashioned luck. This is a time where easy gains are happening, where gains that you don't expect are happening, and where you actually might be getting more than you bargained for in the good way. Not, of course, an opportunity to sit back and take it all for granted, because it does require a certain amount of action from you at this time. So, Librans, your challenge for the month is to be forceful, to act with leadership, something that's not always associated with Librans, but is certainly there. So, act on it, go for it, act as if you're the boss, be the boss, take charge, and that's what's really making things work well for you. It's going to be easy for you to connect with people who could be helpful, for you to make yourself understood, and even to access new knowledge or information that might help you at this time in this stabilizing in the financial situation and indeed improving your financial life. So don't sweat it. Things are really working out. Scorpio, you know what you really need right now is a bit of a change of scenery. Ideally, that means you're going to get a chance to travel, or that you can cook up an opportunity to travel. And if that's the case, that should be your priority this time. Any opportunities to get away or just to shift the environment in some way. If it's not going to be travel, well, the environment is also your home space. This is a great month for redecorating, renovating, or even if it's just moving the furniture around and changing how things look. Changing up the environment can change your whole energy. This could also mean the environment of people, and maybe all the people around you at the moment aren't all people acting in your favor or serving what you need at the moment. So this is a good time for a general kind of spring clean and shake up in terms of who's around you and who's important to you. This is also a great time for communication. It's not your strongest suit because you often are silent when you could be saying something, and then you say something and people don't know how to deal with it. So this is not one of those kind of months. This is one of those months where you're being heard, you're being understood, and you're being taken seriously. So it's a great time to make things clear, to state your case, to use your words, and open your doors for yourself. Sagittarius, no one can accuse you of having too much fun. And with a bit of luck, which you're not short of, this could be one of those months. But it isn't just about fun, it's about activity and action. There seems to be so much going on in your chart at the moment that it's going to be very difficult for you to keep a track and to keep a handle on everything. Fun is great and make sure you're having plenty of that, yes, but you do need to focus more at the moment. In an ideal world, you would be traveling this month, and as an Aquarian, you probably think in an ideal world you'd be traveling every month. But it does look like the kind of high energy, alert, input focused chart that you have this month is best in new situations and in different environments and with new people. And if that can happen, that's the way to go, even if it doesn't involve travel. New people, new groups, new places to go to just on your local routes around, all of that really acts to give you great input and a place to put all this energy that seems to be in your chart at the moment, which otherwise is looking quite scattered. So in a nutshell, Sagittarians, it's time to focus yourself on something, and most importantly, make sure that you're not spreading yourself too thin. best place to start is with yourself. Start at home. Start with making your space your space. Everything's going to work from there. Capricorn, some of your relationships need to be revised and assessed or reassessed at the moment. It could be that there are changes happening in your personal life, in your social group, all of those areas that do need a little bit of a shake-up or at least a refresh at the moment. So there could be new people entering into your sphere. There could be people who've been there for a long time simply disappearing from your sphere. Hopefully, gently, not with any conflict, but even that is possible. So it's like a changing of all the people that are around you, or at least those who no longer serve or no longer fit in your social circle. Close personal relationships of existing connections and friends and important people can become very, very strong at this time. It's a good time for important commitments to people, for making connections that are expected to last long term, or, kind of shaking hands on any kind of a long-term contract. We're not only talking about personal life, we're also talking about professional life. This is a fine time to be making those kind of connections, but only after step one, eliminating the people who no longer serve. So making sure the people around you are the people who support your cause, then this is a great time to make that commitment. Aquarius, there's no getting away from it. This looks like a working month for you, a hard working month for you. In fact, it might feel a little bit like a thankless working month for you, and it's not quite as bad as it looks. It really is a month where it's kind of pay now, fly later. You're going to have to do some hard work. You're going to have to clear out a lot of the stuff that needs to be done and just get those checklists checked off. But it's going to pay off in the long run. Next month and subsequent months, you're going to see the results of the efforts that you've been making this month. This is also going to be an opportunity to connect with someone. Now, that's shown at least twice in your chart, which means personal connections and professional connections both show strongly in your chart. In terms of the hard work that needs to be done, this is going to enable an important business connection or goal-oriented connection of some kind. And in terms of the personal stuff that needs to be done, well, this is going to be a time where you can make great bonds, bring new people into your life, and make lasting connections. Hopefully, even lasting, committed relationships can start for some people. This month could be a good time to pop the question, if that's what we're about. Pisces, this could be quite a romantic month for you. Existing relationships and new relationships are going to benefit from this kind of romantic phase that's in your chart, but that doesn't mean you can just sit back and enjoy it all. You've got to be extra vigilant. Remember that you're someone who easily gets taken advantage by people who make you feel sorry for them, and that you easily also kind of drop your own barriers because of your romantic nature and your willingness to help and trust people a little bit too easily. Well, all of those things need to be carefully watched because this is a month of connection, of interaction, of everything to do with people. If there are new relationships starting for you, you need to go very slowly and carefully. They could be great romantically, and that's great fun and all of that, but take it very slowly and wait some time before you make any commitments or any serious consequences of new relationships. It is a good time for commitments for existing relationships, relationships that are already long-term relationships. And there also might be one or two relationships that need to be shaken hands, we've reached the end of the road, and maybe there's no going further. So it's your month of assessing relationships, carefully allowing the new ones in and realizing there might be one or two that need to go. But this is really a good time for making your personal circle stronger and better and more rewarding. That's it for now. Don't forget to keep an eye out for my forthcoming follow-up interview with Alex Chenoweth dropping in the next week or two. See you then.